Today at the Crabby, we find out how a little old country gal from Upper Dakota went from singing gospel in a sod hut while doing laundry in a wash tub to 40,000 screaming fans at a huge concert 2 nights ago. And why the heck would she stroll into our angry little coffee shop? Let's hit play. Isn't this cool?
Okay, she washes her laundry in a wash tub.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Catherine Louise Perkins.
That would be hilarious if that was my name.
It's
if
not.
you just guessed it.
You just made that up?
Yeah, I did.
Wow.
I did.
Okay.
I don't know what it is.
Hey, Louise, welcome to the studio. This is Kat Perkins, for those of you who don't understand who Catherine Louise might be. Kat Perkins is joining us. I love Kat. Kat's my favorite girl in the world. And Kenny, you have so many Kat questions.
I do. The first is, Kat, did you think last night while on stage, 40,000 people, Rock the Country Festival in York, Pennsylvania, that 2 days later you'd be sitting right here holding hands with me and Amy?
Not a clue, but you know what? When the call came down, I was very happy about it.
I can't believe, I think, when did I text you, Amy? Friday, right?
I don't know. It's all a blur.
Saturday.
It's all a blur, Kenny.
It was Saturday.
I got around to it Saturday,
Okay,
Kenny.
got it.
But thanks for throwing me under the bus. No, I immediately responded to your text, Kenny, but
Right away.
Kat was
Yeah,
busy,
instantly. Yeah.
super busy. And then we finally hooked up on Saturday.
Yeah.
And Kat,
Saturday.
I know, you know I love you, but you know how I decided that we should talk to you? I knew that Amy had your phone number.
Yay! You know what? Sometimes
You know why?
that's
You
the
know why
reason.
I wanted to talk to you? Because I
Why?
love and respect you,
Look at that.
and I have your
Thanks,
phone
Amy.
number on top of it. You know, let me tell a story first before we go any further, because this is why I love Kat Perkins. My Talk has had a relationship. When were you on The Voice?
2014.
Oh my God, that was
10
over 11 almost.
11 years ago.
So you were on The Voice 11 years ago, and at the time when you were on national television all the time, because you got down to how many were left at the end?
I got to 4. Got to number 4.
So the whole, I mean, that was back in the day, frankly.
Only
when
the top 3 got a car. Let's just remember, I did not get the car. Anyway, keep
I
going.
didn't know that.
Way to be hurtful, Amy.
okay.
I know, I'm sorry. But that was when streaming was not as prolific.
Correct.
And people were actually gathering around the TV, like back in the
Correct.
Roosevelt area.
Like appointment watching.
It was like a fireside chat with
and
Kat
there was
Perkins,
an 800 number to actually vote for me.
which is so bizarre, right?
It's crazy.
So then My Talk became friends with you, along with a bunch of other, Cities was talking to you, and CC, a lot of stations were talking to you, and TV stations, and you were gracious enough to do all of them, including us. You and Colleen Lindstrom, who was one of our hosts at the time, kind of formed a bond.
Yes.
That I'm sure preserves to this day.
Yes, 100% does.
So then when other things would come up, we sort of just, My Talk and Kat Perkins became besties, right?
It was amazing, because what you're not remembering is that when I moved to the Twin Cities from the sod house in North Dakota,
Yeah.
the first station that I listened to was My Talk. So we're talking 2002. Lori and Julia, the former Afternoon Drive, they became my first friends. When I moved here, I was 18 years old. I had no idea what the heck I was doing in a big city. And I just started listening to My Talk. So you guys were my friends before you even knew it.
That's right. And
That's
then,
why.
But at the time when you were on The Voice, we were like, oh gosh, we're just so lucky to get her. And she's so great. And then I do remember you telling us that you were a My Talker. And I was like
hardcore.
Are you kidding me?
Hardcore.
We were so excited. But then, and then a couple of things would happen. Like things would come up, like we did, My Talk does a thing every year called Project Down and Dirty, where it's like a fish out of water. All our hosts have to go live and do something for 3 days. One year was Rock Band.
Yes.
And Kat was one of the mentors for the show, one of the shows, and performed at Project Down and Dirty. We did a Mary Tyler Moore tribute. You came out and sung Love Is All Around.
Yes.
And let me tell you this about Kat Perkins, and I mean this 100% sincerely, because we have dealt at My Talk, as all media outlets do, with other, music people, TV people, celebrity type people. Kat always comes prepared. She always comes on time.
Hello.
She always comes with a big old smile on her face. She is always ready to play. And she is truly one of the dearest, kindest people.
This is all unlike Kenny is.
Kenny's the opposite of all of that.
Kenny.
Can I translate everything you just said?
Sure.
She's not a pain in the ass.
Yes, absolutely.
I like
that.
You
Yeah.
are such
try
a,
not
you
to
are
be.
such a pro, and you are also just a lovely human.
Thank you.
And that doesn't even begin to talk about. And Kenny, remember when you and I
my ego is just like,
sat together at my desk years ago? This would be 10 years ago.
Were we holding hands?
And I hope not.
Okay.
You might have tried, and I said, "Get away from me."
That's probably what happened.
But we were watching together, Kat singing "Someone Like You"
Okay.
at the piano.
So
at an
here's
airport.
that video, Kat.
yeah. Let's go.
I thought that happened after The Voice, because as you could probably tell just by looking at me, I'm not a voice guy. I'm if you're a rock and roller,
spit
you're
my
a
Diet
singer,
Coke
a
out.
musician, and you make it to the very top, it's because you weren't involved in anything like The Voice. It's because you started at a young age, you struggled in the shitty beer joints and the strip clubs, and
Which
you
I
were
did.
on the road, and your van broke down
Oh,
in the middle of
100%.
nowhere.
Yeah.
And I never equated The Voice with any of that, but it turns out that was your whole life before The Voice. So
Exactly.
I saw this, and I think in my mind it was 5 a.m. And you were in Amsterdam
Yep.
in the airport, and you sat down with your piano player, your band,
Yeah.
and did this "Someone Like
You, it's an Adele song.
Adele song.
which
yes.
I was completely unfamiliar with. You introduced me to that song.
Thank God.
So when I
So
finally heard
amazing.
Adele singing it, I'm like, well, she's not
That's
doing
okay.
it right. That's not how. I mean, that's fine if you want to do a cover, but that's
Okay.
not how it's done.
Okay, you Brit.
And that's when
Whatever.
it got. And I had known you before that, and that's when it got really uncomfortable for me because
my
I
God.
realized, holy crap. She's not just Cat. She's really seriously talented.
Well, this was also the video that got me on The Voice.
Yeah, and I didn't realize
Was it?
that.
I didn't realize that.
Yes.
Okay.
Also,
Because you were just coming back, as I remember, and correct me if I'm wrong, weren't you coming back from Middle East?
Yeah, come back
You
from
had
the Middle
entertained
East.
in the Middle
I had
East.
been retired for 3.5 years.
At the ripe old age of what, 27?
Exactly.
Right.
Something like that. Yep. And I had taken a hiatus because I had vocal surgery. So that took me out of the game. Then I became a nanny for this family in Minnesota. And then when I started to perform again, I was doing a house gig at this college bar in Minneapolis, Minnesota on Wednesdays. And
Which
this-
bar?
Blarney's?
Oh, don't
Remember
remember it. Don't
I
remember it.
don't know if it's still there. No idea.
It sounds Irish.
Wouldn't probably go hang out. I mean, it does, but it's also just a college bar.
Okay.
And then there was an agent that was taking bands overseas who saw me there. You know, I'm literally like coming out of what I thought was going to be retirement forever. And he was like, I would love to take you overseas to perform for the troops. And I mean, are you kidding me? You don't say no.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah.
No.
When do we
Put
go?
a year on that.
Yeah.
What year was that?
And so that was in 2012.
Okay.
Or
See, I stopped
2013,
going
or early
out.
2013.
I stopped going out in 2000. But if you had been around before 2000, we would have run into each other
yeah.
every single night of the week. Because
No way.
before I stopped going out, I was all night, every night, go from the bar or the after hours party right to work. And people at work would say, "You need to go home. You smell like gin."
No wonder you're crabby.
Yeah, he's
that
got
all
a
changed
reason.
in 2000, though. When you have a kid, it's like, "Oops, this is my new life,
Oh,
and
sure.
this is
Yeah.
way better." Yeah.
So then, if you look at that YouTube video, it is obviously not up there by me, which kind of sucks because somebody's really, really
Raking.
Made some
probably.
good money on that,
It
right?
became viral. You know, I didn't even know about it.
Did The
honestly.
Voice make it viral?
No,
Or
it
did it
became
do that on
viral.
its own?
It did it on its own. This
Okay.
was back, enough in 2012, 2013, where that thing was sort of like an anomaly.
Sure.
And like you weren't seeing girls get up in the airport at 6:30 in the morning with a beer in her hand,
Right.
and like singing a song. So, and it's a really long video now that
Yeah.
time
Went
has gone
right.
by. So it's like a 3-minute video, and people watched it, and it went viral, and I had no idea. Like,
You know what my favorite part of that video is, aside from the fact that the performance is actually amazing, but it was, as I remember it, wasn't it in the middle of the night?
Yeah, it's 6:30 in the morning.
6:30 in the morning.
Amsterdam time.
And so there's hardly anyone there at first. It's you, the piano
There's
player.
people sleeping. I actually said, no, we shouldn't do this. There's people sleeping.
Right, we don't want to disturb them. But then as the song goes on, which is kind of the cool part, people start moving into frame.
Yeah.
You start seeing people like, they're walking by with their suitcase and they're like, hey.
And they stop.
Is that Adele? No, it's Kat Perkins.
And it made this huge scene, which I actually felt bad.
It was so adorable.
I had the Midwestern empathy. I'm
love
like,
it.
I'm sorry,
Do you
I
think-
woke you.
Do you think that was the first of those videos? Because now YouTube is full of that sort
That's
of
such
thing.
a great
I think
question.
you
because
invented it.
I have no idea. Should we just say that? Should we put
Let's
it
say
out?
you did.
I think you were the pioneer.
We're with Kat Perkins, who invented YouTube videos.
We should change my wiki right now.
Right now, I'll do it right after this.
What I
edit.
like about that video is watching your reaction, your internal struggle, because I can tell that you know that a high note is coming in 5 seconds, and you start working up to it, and then you hit it, and then you can see the relief in your face as you move
Ooh, I
on in
did
the song. Yeah.
Exactly. Look at that. I can do this.
And also remember, I was just getting my feet back under me as a singer. I had surgery and had to stop singing.
It was vocal surgery.
Vocal surgery. So it wasn't from overuse. I had been singing my whole life, but I had this random cyst on my left vocal cord.
Oh.
You know, some people get them on their wrist or their head or whatever.
Yeah.
Mine was
Just
on my vocal cord.
for you, a singer.
Just for me.
Just the absolute worst place to get
The
one.
worst place.
You know? Hey,
Yeah.
so when you were growing up,
Yeah.
first of all, I have to say, I don't know how you feel about it, Kenny, but if I could have one talent, and I so do not have this talent, it would be to be able to sing.
I used to.
Oh God, if I could, I'd be so happy.
Oh my God.
Tell me, in my mind, you had a musical family, and every time the extended family got together, you'd all eventually end up sitting around the living room, shucking and jiving
Like
and
the
having
Von
a
Trapps,
hootin',
maybe.
Yeah.
having a hootenanny.
Oh, I mean, of course.
Yeah.
I couldn't
Hootenanny.
escape it.
See, I see it more as like singing "The Hills Are Alive" with the sound of music. But really, when did you discover, as a kid, I assume,
Yeah.
that you could sing?
Yeah, that's a good question, because now that I sort of mentor kids and I teach kids, and I there's some kids that I teach that don't know yet, and like their parents are like, oh my gosh, there's something here, and they don't really get it. I knew in kindergarten.
Really?
I remember like the moment. I don't have any footage, that would have been like VHS if somebody would have owned one in the 80s. But I remember being 5 years old and in a kindergarten, and my dad finally let me like do the local talent show, or I think it was called the swing choir concert or something. And I got up there and sang with a mic. And I remember feeling that resonance in my body, thinking, but when I was done, like all I wanted to do was do it again and again. Like I
Wow.
knew that was like, there's something that resonated, that I could do, that I felt really good at.
Like, this is my thing.
This is my thing. And I mean, literally, because I remember living my life from that point on. Like, how can I get back on stage?
Isn't that something?
And Kenny won't believe this, but I was a very introverted kid. So, like, to do that was really nerve-wracking, and my parents were like, oh, God, is she going to be okay? I was not an extrovert.
You are so much more extroverted, or seemingly now. I know enough about extrovert introverts that
Yes.
a lot of the best extroverts I know are actually introverts.
Well, yeah.
And what would you say you are now? Did the singing push you to become more extroverted, and are you truly still an introvert?
So equal. Okay, so I find on The Voice, they had us do every personality test under the sun, including our IQ test and all the
Really?
crazy things. I know.
Why? What's the stated purpose?
I mean, they never really said it, but I think now that obviously on the other side of it, I can say it was like they needed to know how our brains, and like if we were mentally stable enough to do what we were about to do, and who we could get along with, because we had roommates. And I don't know if they still do.
Now, if only they do that on The Bachelor.
Yeah, no kidding.
I mean, how many times have they some kind of wackadoodle slip through their net?
Well, and also maybe they do it sometimes to pit it on those kind of shows where like they can pit it against each other, right? So when the personality test came down and I was like 30, 31, it was equal. I was equal introvert, equal extrovert.
Yeah.
And I think, sure, the answer is singing, wanting to do this business made me be able to step out of that.
Right.
And also, I loved it. But I'll tell you, to this day, right now, and I know you know people like this, and even a lot of radio personalities. I love it when I love it, but I hate it when I hate it.
Totally. There's so many performers, and this comes as, I think at this point in 2025, a surprise to nobody, right?
Yeah.
That they love the performance part, but
Yes.
they very ferociously guard the rest of their psyche.
Well, yeah.
Because it feels like you could get swallowed up by it.
Yeah, and you can.
And you
I
can.
think I did.
Right.
I mean, After the Voice was a whole nother story, which hopefully one day I can write about, but it's even too hard now to do that because I had to be out there and in the thing, and then I couldn't shut it off.
Right. You know what? Let's take a break. Kenny, I know you have probably 1,000,007 more questions.
I just saw Kyle throw
He threw
something
something
at
at
you,
me.
which is the indication that we
I
need
guess
to
that
take a
means break.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
It's this weekend already. The second annual Minnesota Garage Build Bike Show, powered by Dennis Kirk, is at the Running Aces Casino this Saturday from 10 a.m. until 5 p.m. It's open to all you amateur garage builders. I know you've been working hard in your ride in the garage to transform it into whatever you call it now. It could be anything. Did you turn a Goldwing into a gravel travel bomber? Did you transfer? Let's see. I've always wanted to turn an XS650 into a cafe racer. Maybe you did that, or a bobber, or an old school chopper, whatever it is. Be sure to get there. Get there early because the bikes start registering at 10 a.m. The show runs noon to 3:45 with judging afterwards. Now, this is a family event, so everyone is welcome. Amy, if you're going, you got to wear a bra, okay? None of that nonsense. And you folks, you can bring your kids. We're talking vendor booths, food trucks, a live DJ, the whole deal. The Minnesota Garage Build Bike Show comes this Saturday, the 7th, from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Running Aces Track and Casino in the Columbia Forest Lake area. And as always, for all your bike parts, go to DennisKirk.com. So I think we should pick up right where we left off, Amy.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
Where did you leave off or did I?
You did. And
a finely
Kat,
tuned
you
machine.
said something about life right after
Yeah.
The Voice.
Like,
Yeah.
exit the thing.
So you did The Voice, and you were a little overwhelmed by some of the things that were surrounding that experience,
and
right?
there was no way to know what that was going to feel like.
Of course
There's
not.
no way to prep for it. There was only a way to deal with it.
Did you have to, because I don't remember, did you have to go on a mandatory tour for a while?
You know what's wild? I love this. So they made the top 3 who got the car.
No.
They made them do
Jerks.
the only tour that they've ever done in the history of The Voice was that season.
Are you serious?
So the top 3 had to do it. Then they did this sort of online contest to get a 4th person from our season. And I'm not going to lie. I told my friends and family, don't vote. Just don't vote for me. I don't want to do it. I'm done. I need a break.
I don't wanna.
I did not make it, thank God. And then they took,
Wait, stop.
She sabotaged herself.
Did you just pull a Kenny? Is that what you
pulled
did?
a Kenny.
Oh my
That's
God, you
exactly-
did pull a Kenny.
If I get a tweet with over 100 likes, I erase it because I don't want it. No more. No more. Enough.
I don't understand.
And also what meant, I knew contractually, I have a little businesswoman in me. I knew contractually that if I had to do that, then we're going to extend that contract for another 3 to 4 months, which I was already having trouble getting out of in this moment, right? So business wise, it was it's going to be so much smarter to be done and start living my life, start playing shows and capitalizing on what just happened as fast as possible.
Instead of having to do their game for as long as they
Their
wanted
game,
to keep you.
and not great money and
Right.
I was just I want to start my life.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys know that each season is backed up. They do 2 seasons a year and they're backed right up against each other, so everyone forgets about you within 5-6 months.
Okay.
In your head.
Yeah. So you felt like you needed to seize it while it was hot.
100%. And I got out of that contract. May 23rd was my last filming day. My first show was July 31st of that same year, of 2014. So I expedited, had a great lawyer, and was just get me out. I want to go.
Smart.
And I did it. And I'm glad I didn't have to do that tour. It was great. I went and saw them. They did come here to Mystic Lake in Minneapolis. But
darn, you didn't get to play the casino circuit. Shoot. Shoot.
So at the same time, did you have a band or were you in a band at the same time?
Well, no. So how do I put it? I had a band called Scarlet Haze, was where like everything originated for me in this big city. And we had a record deal all the way up until 2012 when I had vocal surgery. So then what I did is like to go to overseas for the troops, I'd pull some of these guys that were in my band. Yeah. And then we'd pull some other guys and make it bigger. So then that's what happened after the show. I just kind of took that family of guys and gals now that I had been working with for my entire adult life in Minneapolis and then kept going.
Wow.
And still do, to this day. Now there's a few more that have joined and come in and out, but it's a lot of the guys that I originated my entire life with. Which is wild. Like,
that's crazy.
My former bass player that was in Scarlet Haze, who still comes in every now and then, he just turned 50. And it was amazing to go to his birthday party. And, we've known each other for 25 years.
What's his name?
Tony Wilson.
Tony.
Happy
What about
birthday,
Warner?
Tony.
Is Warner still around?
Warner's still around. He comes in and out because he likes to go, and he's right now at Martha's Vineyard.
Oh.
And they do a summertime band out there for until August, September.
Wow.
So then he rejoins me from October until May, and then
okay.
Yeah,
I remember when you were on The Voice, and in fact, I think you coined a phrase that we have used on My Talk ever since, which is, in Hollywood, nothing is real and everyone smokes.
That's you?
That's me.
Oh,
Yeah,
God,
those
that's
cats.
brilliant.
Dawn
It's so
McLean
brilliant.
on My Talk, she still will sometimes give me the little accolade, but and Colleen Lindstrom would always say,
I thought it was Colleen's line.
No, it was cats.
It was mine. And it just happened one day on the air on My Talk.
I heard it live when you said it.
I was like, here's what I think. Like, nothing is real, and everyone smokes. Like, everyone smokes. And it's wild when you see Adam Levine or Katy Perry or some, all these people, they smoke. And
isn't that interesting? You would not think singers would smoke.
I know TV anchors downstairs. I don't think they work for us anymore, but they used to smoke in secret. They'd go into the garage and hide from not only the public but from Mr.
Hubbard. He does not like that
because he hates smoking.
Yeah, it's so funny.
And the term, the other side of that is the nothing is real thing is like, I lived in a Hollywood thing for 11 months of filming The Voice. And so, even the facade that you're filming in is not real. It looks like we're outside at some sort of awesome tailgate party. We're inside with good lighting.
At a lot.
With fake plants. And it looks great on TV.
Isn't it sort of, actually remember, and it was in this building, that the first time I ever saw sort of behind the scenes of television.
Yeah.
Because I was a kid that just loved television.
Yeah, same.
I loved it. It was my best friend.
Yes.
It still is, sadly.
Same.
But I remember walking into this building when I was 17, I think. I used to skip school.
Oh, my God.
And I knew a director who worked on, at the time it was called Twin Cities Today. Not Twin Cities Live, Twin Cities Today.
Okay.
And it was Stephen Sharon. And I knew the director, so he would invite me down. So I'd drive from the northern suburbs all the way down. It felt like I was going to New York City.
Of course.
And I'd come to this building, and then this guy's name was Greg Cook, and he would bring you back to the control room. But when you looked at the sets,
Yeah.
what they looked like on TV was amazing. And when you saw them in real life, everything was so shabby.
Like a painting.
Shabby and worn. And it's not just
Not
this
real.
place, it's every place.
It's not real.
Anytime you go see something that looked cool on TV, don't see it in real life.
Nope.
Just don't.
Don't blow your mind.
Right?
It's nothing is real.
And everyone
Everyone smokes.
Everybody smokes. And you told us funny stories that you may or may not want to repeat about Adam Levine.
Oh, God, yeah.
He was kind of he might have ADHD.
Oh, yeah.
Now,
Absolutely.
wait a second. Is this the kid that's trying to be Freddie Mercury?
No.
Who's the Freddie
No.
Mercury?
Adam Lambert.
Adam
Lambert.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's the Queen.
See,
He's the guy that sings lead for Queen now.
Yes.
Yeah,
He was on
I'm
American
not.
Idol.
I'm not down with that.
No, Adam Levine is
Maroon 5.
Maroon 5.
There's only one Queen, and there's only one Freddie Mercury.
Of course.
I'm sorry.
I'm
Don't
totally
come
with you.
at me with
Totally
your
with
Queen.
you.
Yeah, no.
Totally
no.
with you.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Adam Levine was something, wasn't he?
I mean, he actually, during my season, started to speak out about his ADHD
Okay.
and how he was medicated, and he was, I think, had an endorsement with a medication thing at the time. And it was sort of my first run-in with working with a ginormous star. I had met some famous people, but I worked with him every day.
Right.
And then dealing with this neurodivergency, which was really interesting, and especially for somebody who like we talking before, like when he became famous at a young age. So, you know, we have this theory about brain development, and when you've never been told no at a young age, you kind of stick there because you don't have to move out of that. So ADHD plus sort of some of that was like really curious. And like I remember him throwing tantrums sometimes, not at me, but at like the staff, and I'd be like, oh my God. And then my Midwestern empathy would be like, oh God, be nice to everyone. And then I would just see it all resolve. And then I'd have to work with him again the next day, but he wouldn't remember what we just talked about 5 minutes ago. It was, you know, like it was a navigation. But in the end, like one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet.
Oh, isn't that nice?
He's like what you want him to be.
Isn't that wonderful?
You know, yeah.
Well, and I mean, neurodiversity, I think we're just becoming more and more aware of it.
Yes.
I have ADHD. Yeah. My son is neurodiverse. Yeah. But I think it's so interesting just along those lines that I think when I look back now, I think people that we used to think were just weird, myself included, were neurodiverse. Right.
So that's the new way of saying pain in the ass.
Okay,
is that what it is?
Sure.
Because I've never heard this term before. I know pain in the ass. I work with a lot of pains in the ass.
You being one of them, Kenny.
Well, I hope I'm the lead character.
Yeah. Here's what we know now, though, too, is like so many of us have it. I would say I'm not diagnosed ADHD, but definitely have a different sort of way of thinking. And like I just got done watching Love on the Spectrum. And
I haven't watched it yet, but I want to.
Oh my God, you have.
I've heard it's
first
amazing.
And foremost. But I think what neurodivergency can really do is make you hyper focus on something, and most of that is creativity because your brain is working a different way. So Adam is very successful because of it. I think a lot of musicians stick with it because we have that ability to hyper focus on something that is so bullshit. Sorry, but like this business is bullshit.
Totally.
All creative. I'm sorry. All entertainment businesses are bullshit.
Yeah.
It's bullshit.
Yeah. I say that to myself every day. This what I'm doing is complete bullshit.
It's bullshit.
Yeah. Totally.
Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah.
Sorry, but it's true.
It is.
Hey, Kenny, let's take another quick break, and your other 4 million questions can come next.
All right.
Sure.
I want to mention this one more time because it's coming up this weekend, the second annual Minnesota Garage Build and Bike Show. It's powered by Dennis Kirk, our old friends, Dennis Kirk, DennisKirk.com. And it's at the Running Aces Casino. That's on the west side of 35 up in the Columbus Forest Lake area. And it's open to all you guys that have been avoiding your family for years, staying out in the garage until 11, 12 o'clock, working on that motorcycle. Guys, gals, I've seen a lot of gals on cafe racers and bobbers and old school choppers. Whatever your passion is, that motorcycle passion, be sure to get up there this weekend and get there early. Registration starts at 10 a.m. The show runs noon to 3:45, judging and awards and all of that afterwards. By the way, all of this is free. I don't know if I've mentioned that before. It's free to register, free to attend. Bring your kids. It's a family event. So, the tube tops, maybe leave them at home, whatever. I trust you. You're an adult. But there's going to be a lot of good stuff there. Vendor booths, food trucks, a live DJ, the whole deal. It's this Saturday, the Minnesota Garage Build Bike Show at Running Aces. Runs until, what did I say? Until 5 o'clock. That's what I said. And as always, for all your motorcycle needs, do what I do. Head to DennisKirk.com. So, Catherine Louise Perkins.
Yes, I love this.
KLP. You lived through and have been working through this huge change in the music business where when you started, it's not even a shadow of its former self. It's changed so much. And I want to bring you to that open music we heard. Remember that really cool song we heard at the beginning? Yes. That's from a guy named Dylan Reese, who occasionally goes out on tour and he makes music and puts it out on the internet. Okay. That song is a song of his that he doesn't like and decided not to go forward with it.
Wow.
And said, you can have it for free.
Stop.
Because he works, Dylan Reese works with Dylan Haidt, the son of John Haidt. And I know you know John Haidt. He worked down the hall at 1500 doing news.
Garage Logic.
Yeah, and he's on GL with us.
He's a bass player?
Sure.
Guitar player.
John plays guitar, but his son, Dylan Haidt, plays everything, and he does it well, and he creates all of our bumper music.
Oh, my gosh.
But we keep telling him, as old men, get a band, get on the road,
Yeah.
start doing dates, and he's, and he says, well, you guys are dinosaurs. That is not,
You don't need
that
to do
is
it.
not how you get a deal
You don't
anymore.
got to do it.
What's it like now?
Yeah. I mean, gosh, how do I even start this answer?
Well, to start with, okay. So when you, back in 2012, let's
Yeah.
say, or whatever,
Yeah, when I
whatever
had the
you want to pick,
deal. Yeah.
how would you go about putting music together and promoting it and getting it out there back then versus what you would have to do now?
Exactly what he said. So, I mean, with Scarlet Haze, that started in 2003. All we could do was record music. I mean, I had to just use my life savings that I had at that point. Well, I skipped college, so I used a lot of my college money for to start that, record it, go and play venues, and then just cross your fingers that you're playing with another band that had followers that you could start gaining and sell your CD. I mean, I am just past the cassette and record at that point when I was starting that. Now, I mean, all those are back now, but like I had to sell a physical copy and then sort of try to get traction on that, which happened. I mean, I have this crazy luck story. Adam Levine talks about luck a lot. He's like, you can work as hard as balls, but there's still luck involved. Yeah. And I got noticed and did a battle of the bands and got to open up for Bon Jovi in 2005.
Wow.
11/11/2005, because Bon Jovi was running this local, every single stop that he made on his Have a Nice Day tour, he had a local opener.
Okay.
So then all of a sudden it was like overnight success. And all of that work paid off quickly, too fast. We had no idea what the hell we were doing.
Did the crowd love you?
The crowd loved us,
Great.
And then all of a sudden we had like a website. This is weird to talk about, but Facebook was just starting, so like it wasn't a thing. And then we had a what was the old Facebook? MySpace.
MySpace.
And then
MySpace,
the numbers
right.
just went poof.
So before that, what was the biggest venue you had played? And include outdoor stuff like you play out in Sturgis every year, right?
Yeah, so that would be Sturgis.
So
was,
what, 5,000, 10,000? Up
Yeah.
to Bon
Yeah.
Jovi, which had to be
I mean, I'm going to
40
say
plus?
3,000 was probably the biggest. Even in like the Sturgis days of doing the full throttle, by the time we took the stage, there was probably only 3,000 out of 8. By the time the headliner took.
So Bon Jovi.
And then Bon Jovi was about 20,000.
Jeez.
Did you get a sound check? Were you able to do a sound check?
We did.
What was it like looking at all those empty seats during sound check, going, "Holy shit"?
Wow, I was peeing my pants the whole day.
Do you get like physically like nervous?
Yes, I mean,
sick?
I got like physically ill that day, and I lost my voice completely by the end because the stress was just so high.
Oh God!
But how do you push through if you're near or have been physically nauseous?
Yeah.
How do you push through that and get yourself to get up on stage?
There is an actual video that they made for us. They didn't do the whole 35 minutes or 40 minutes that we played, but they did like the first 3 songs, and I rip off my necklace and thing that I had because I was so nauseous and it was bothering me, and I just kind of made it a rock move, and I took that thing and just ripped it off my thing, and just like I could see my mother 11 rows back, and I focused on her, and I was just like, don't throw up, just do this.
Oh my God, that'd be
30
so
minutes. It was.
That'd be horrifying.
Wild. And it was funny. I sound check. Thank God we had a sound check. And it is weird to see that. And we still have that nowadays when I go into the big arenas. And we just played the Target Center again with Kid Rock.
Wow.
And it was my first time back there since 2005.
Wow.
So I had the same moment where sound check was just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be full. And there's no drug. And I've tried most. There's
Good.
no
That was my next question. Thank you.
Check that one off.
I love you even more now.
There is no drug that is better in the world than when the lights go down.
Isn't that true?
And thousands of people scream. And I get to live that every weekend now, and I video it every single night just because and I always say it never gets old. It just never gets old, and your heart starts to pound. Except for nowadays, at this age, I'm like, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. And I'm nervous because I care.
Sure.
But I'm like, it's all going to happen and I'm going to be the best human I can be right now because this is my job, And
But you know what I love is that you still feel that way when you're at Target Center.
Yeah.
And because I think what ends up happening is that people lose that sense of wonder about it.
Yeah.
And that sense of that it's magical.
1,000%.
And then they become cynical.
I really do.
Like Kenny.
I work with.
Yeah.
I work with a lot of your friends.
I know you do. I know.
And it's easy to become like where it just gets old or like the drug wears off or whatever. But for me, that's just not it. And people ask me all the time, do you get nervous? And I think about that time in 2005 where like I had never felt that nervous in my life. And then I think about it now and it's not that far off. I just know how to hone it in.
Yeah.
You know, if I wasn't nervous, I'd be scared that I didn't care anymore. You know, like
Get
Kenny.
that. Like Kenny.
I was in a band.
Let's just keep saying like Kenny
Like
after
just like-
everything we say.
Just like me. I was in a band in high school, and our first gig, I was so nervous that I started dry heaving.
Oh, yeah.
And as the first notes of the song were playing, I had to turn around, and I'm facing the drummer going,
Oh.
Been there.
And
How
then-
old were you?
it was between my junior and senior year in high school.
I still.
I've been there.
And like you, Kat, I moved to Minneapolis to be in a band, and I discovered that being in a band is a lot of work, and most musicians are real dumbasses, and they're hard to put up with.
Yeah,
and that's when I
true.
decided if I want to be a big, huge traffic star, I'm going to have to go into radio.
And who doesn't dream of that from childhood?
Being a traffic star.
But Kenny, when you say most musicians are dumbasses, you mean like they behave like dumbasses or they're literal dumbasses?
Kate, Kate, I'm sorry.
Your
That's fine.
your name's going to move
evolving.
around. Yeah.
We had a drummer that we hated so much that we would practice at his house, and we decided when we were going to kick him out and stop the band, that we were going to go and just play Fire by Jimi Hendrix 5 times in a row.
Oh my God.
And that is a really, really hard song to play on drums because it's just constant go, 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 go. And then we finished that up and we took our gear and we never talked to him again. And it was so gratifying. So gratifying.
Oh my God.
Well, drummers are horrible people. They're awful people.
I was married to one.
Why?
so you know.
Why would drummers be bad people? I don't understand.
I don't know. I
Because
have no
they pound
idea
on
why.
things for.
I don't delve into the why. I just know.
Oh, that's what makes you so
It's
frustrating.
like sound guys. There's a sound guy breed
Oh,
too out there.
tedious.
But, you know, and that was very important to me, especially if I was going to keep going or re-enter the business after The Voice. Was like find the non-dumbasses, because if I'm going
Right.
to be on a bus or a freaking van and like or in a band house, like we are
You're
going
going to spend a lot of time with them.
we are going to have the nicest drummer.
Yeah.
We're going to have the best, nicest bass player. Like at a point where you're like, if you're not even the best player, if you're the best human, you're hired. You know what I mean? Like you
know
give
what?
it up.
You know what? That is, and I will just be brief about this. That is what my talk. That was the goal of my talk. Was for
sure.
people that are there. I don't care. And we end up being lucky in having the most talented.
Of course.
But they're
Same.
also, as you know, because you know them, they are also the most lovely human beings.
Yes. And then we're lucky in the fact that when you find those people, they also work hard. And if they're not at the top of their game when that happens, they'll get there because they're nice and they want to do it. So I don't have any dumbasses anymore, Kenny. It's
Good.
amazing.
If you want a dumbass, I have a business idea for the two of us.
Let's go. I
What
can't.
is
I've
it? I
heard.
want to hear this.
I've heard that you're a motivational speaker.
I am.
I'm an anti-motivational speaker.
Oh, that's
and
perfect.
I think we could combine efforts and go up on stage together, because I am the result of what you do if you don't follow Kat's advice. If you stay up until 3 o'clock in the morning drinking and partying and everything else, and then go right from the after hours party to your work at a radio station, you'll be a big success. But if
Okay,
you want,
We need a name for
but
this.
really, here's what I would
if you
call
want
it.
to
Okay,
go beyond that,
here's what I would call it, you guys, because I don't really think it's anti-motivational speaker and motivational speaker. I think it's motivational speaker Kat Perkins and Exhibit A.
An exhibit.
See, now you're being mean. I think what we should
Hold
do
on, you
is
just said you were a big fat loser. What?
This-
I mean,
this is the equivalent of, remember when you were in high school and it was gym class and it was time to pick kids to be on your team for, say,
Dodgeball.
dodgeball? That's what we're going to do. Kat's team, Kenny's team. I'm going to convince people to, do nothing with their lives and party and live it up and be happy. And Kat's going to, I don't know, what are you going to do? Tell them to get a job and shape up and stop using all those curse words in church.
Let me call my agent. We're on to something here.
And then the arena splits in half, but really there's like 8,000 people on Kat's side and 2 lonely stragglers on Kenny's side.
Only because they want the attention.
Yeah, right?
I've got a lot of good advice. Listen, if you want to drink beer for breakfast, Guinness is the way to go.
Hey.
There'd be some like little boy who's like 8 and he's like, but if I want to follow your advice, Mr. Kenny, will I end up looking like you?
Yeah, oh, yeah, absolutely. Look at this. Check this shit out.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the beard and the bad attitude.
Oh,
No, I like this. I think we're onto something. We should probably do it. I like it.
Can we
working title?
Can we just have Kat on for the rest of our podcast forever?
Can you and Kat
Yes,
just
please.
do this podcast and I'll be a guest once a year?
we are.
That has been what he's been angling from the beginning.
Here we are.
Is he wants the podcast to continue and he wants not to have to work it.
You can't leave. I have to find out how the call from Bob, what was that all about?
Yeah.
How did you end up working with Kid Rock?
This is fun. Yeah. You want me to
Right
do it right
now,
now?
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Do it, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's wild timing. We talk about luck, we talk about the universe, which also entered into this process. So, huge fan, grew up on Kid Rock, to the point where my mom had a rule in the car that we could not listen to it anymore when she was still driving me around to the sod house,
Yeah. In
where
the
I did
horse
my
and buggy.
laundry.
Yeah, after the laundry. Day.
Exactly, on the horse. And so and I, huge fan. So, and that's like my formative years era was where Kid Rock became huge and Ba to Ba was the thing, and then it just kept going. So, how do I let me just jump way ahead. In like 2009, I believe, I had been touring with a girl named Shannon Kerfman. She's also from North Dakota. She's an East Sider. I'm a West Sider. She ended up moving to Minneapolis with her record deal, working with Johnny Lang's team on the blues side of things.
I know all of Johnny's guys because they all used to work at the Caboose.
And
his sound guys, his merch people, all of them. Yeah.
And the reason she moved here was to kind of work with that team. So we ended up touring together in 2006, 7. 2009, she gets the call because she knows the guitar player in Kid Rock.
Kenny Olson.
Actually, it was Kenny Olson.
Yeah, yeah.
Now it's Marlon Young, but the original guy was Kenny Olson. So she knew Marlon. Bob is Kid Rock's name. Bob wanted to start having background singers. I think he always did have it, but he had an opening, and they asked Shannon to do it. So she starts in 2009. I had been following that journey. I actually went and saw her on the road several times and got to watch the show. There's a really full circle moment where the first time I ever saw him and her together, we actually played this year, which was wild, right? So fast forward to COVID, I'm not working. Didn't really even know how I was going to work again. Like, what does this look like? The venues are gone. How long do we have to wait to start doing music again? Motivational speaking kind of took a sidebar. I was doing it over Zoom for people's conferences, but everything just sort of stopped. And even Kid Rock stopped. And then when he came back, his background singer that was working with Shannon, her name is Stacy, beautiful human. She was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I became the sole caretaker for my parents. They were getting elderly. She's like, we had like 50 dates on the books for that tour, which was 2021. And she says, she started rehearsals and then says, you know what, I can't. I'm out. I feel guilty. I want to be with my parents. So then Shannon gives me the call and says, would you even entertain it? And I was like, hey, look at my schedule. It looks like there's nothing. That's so weird.
Look, it's empty.
It's weird. It's really empty and nothing's really returning for me. And so I had 8 to 10 days to get into that show. The first day of the tour, I cried my eyes out. Like, I didn't know what I was doing. I was learning everything hours and hours a day. And I'm a background singer, so I have to learn some dance moves, which is weird.
Right.
I'm not really a dancer.
Right.
So I had everything but that. And I popped into that first tour. And what I didn't know, this is a great story that I've never told. You know, I had talked to his people, signed a contract, did the things, had an NDA that I'm still under, and all the things, all the contracts, all the things. And when it came to the we did 3 shows in a row. We did Indianapolis, Omaha, Minneapolis. Actually, we did St. Paul. And after St. Paul, I didn't have a flight for the next weekend. So like we had done that whole run on a bus. Then we landed here.
Oh, you were nervous.
And then we were supposed to go to, Milwaukee or something. And I'm like, hey, I don't have my flight. And the tour manager was like, oh, shit. He's like, I forgot because you were sort of on a trial period that you didn't know about.
We weren't sure we were going to keep you.
Exactly. He's like, so you passed. I'll get you your flight. And now we're here 4 years later. Wow. And still doing it. But that year was, 50 some dates. And then the next, we've been consistently going down in dates. So this year we're doing 24 dates. And a lot of that first part of this tour this year was on a bus, and now we're flying out every single week. So I get that luxury of being home every week.
We're going to wrap up soon, but one last question I want to get.
No, we're not. I've got so much more.
I know you do. It's your podcast. You do you, man. But when you said that Kid Rock, you said earlier to us that Kid Rock was this formative bunch of music in your childhood.
Yes.
So what goes on in your head when you give yourself a moment to sort of take it in?
Yeah.
That you are on stage with this guy whose music you used to listen to in the car.
Yeah.
It's still like, I did an interview right after the first week of tour that I first was on, and somebody asked me if it felt like I was in a Kid Rock cover band. And I was like, I mean, that's a good way to think about it, but also it's a little bit insulting to him.
Yeah,
totally. For me, like, no, that's not the way to put it, but it also is like, you feel the legacy. I don't even know how to answer it, because you just feel this huge legacy around it. And all of these fans that show up every single night and know every single word, and just like me, and I'm watching him and also I told Amy, which,
this is so great.
This is a wild story, but I became his hairstylist. As well.
Oh,
that's actually my degree.
That's her regular thing she does.
Yeah. My degree is cosmetology. So
really,
when he was like, hey, does anyone know how to braid hair? Like, I need my hair braided tonight. And I was like, it's actually my degree. This was like the second show. And he goes, well, I think, Kat Perkins, this was fate. And we've never looked back. I cut his hair. I do his hair. I keep it maintained.
Isn't that funny?
So
Tell us about him.
Yeah, he seems really chill to me.
He is. He's a chill guy.
Yeah.
I think sometimes when you watch the news, he does things that...
Well, we all flip a switch when the cameras come on, when the microphones are on. We all flip that switch.
We just finished filming a documentary that came out. It's called Rock the Country. And I'm on it. And I love the bites that they use for me, but I'm going to use the bite that they did not use for me, is that there is Bob and there's Kid Rock.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Bob is my dude. Like, I do his hair, Kid Rock is something that turns on sometimes where you're like, okay, it's a controversial subject sometimes. Sometimes it's polarizing. And then most of the time he'll back right out of it because he knows that, what he said, or he sees it back or whatever, So there's a hard part to it, but I know Bob, and Bob's a great human.
Well, and somebody just told me that one of the things they appreciate about Kid Rock, and I'd love to hear your take on this, is that he has that persona that you just described.
Yes.
And then there's Bob.
Yes.
But that he's super open and very welcoming of all views.
I mean, he really is.
Yeah.
Obviously, look at his band. Like, we're all, come from all different walks of life. We've got queer people, we've got liberals, we've got Republicans. We have all of the things in the crew and the band, and everyone comes together as family. And I think if I did not feel like this was family, and that he was accepting, or that he really did hear us or see us, or view us like family, I wouldn't still be there. I'll find another job. Like, I'll be good. I've done that my whole life. I'll find the next thing no matter what. And I'm still there. And so that says a lot, because he really is that dude. He is. I wish everyone could get to know Bob and sit with him at the dinner table, because it is fantastic.
That is not what I expected this person to say, honestly.
And
I
totally
didn't have a
Amy.
preconceived notion of, I don't know that much about Kid Rock, to be honest.
Right.
But what little snippets I know, when this person was telling me that, I was like, that's fascinating.
It is.
And cool.
It really is. And there's a character there. And, for me too, it's not like, Not with him. I'm Kat Perkins. I am the tried and true. Like if you see me at a Kid Rock show, you'll see this smile and the great nature and happy with my job. But there are sometimes, like in Scarlet Haze, my first band, that was Miss Scarlet. I had Miss Scarlet and I had Kat behind the scenes. And
So you get to be yourself nowadays.
and I do, and I love that.
It's easier, isn't it?
It is.
So much easier.
Yeah.
I mean, I loved playing Miss Scarlet with my band, but it's funny because there's a lot of people that would have said years ago, 20 years ago, that like, I was scared to meet you. Or like, you just seemed like a scary, tattooed, dark-haired woman.
well,
you know, and then you meet me.
Maybe a
and
little.
You are the least scary person I think I've ever met.
You know, when I realized that Bob and I were best friends, I think it was the video. Is the song called something Summertime? It's the video is him out in a boat and drinking
All summer long.
all summer long.
Yeah.
When I saw that video, I thought, well, hell, we're best friends.
Absolutely.
We're best friends. That's me.
And that's the thing. Listen, he would invite you on his boat to have a beer and go fishing.
I would invite him on my pontoon, but he's got to bring his own chair because I don't have any seats on my pontoon. And it's called the cirrhosis of the river.
Of course,
Okay,
you
of course
don't.
it is. Of course it is.
Oh my God, maybe I need you to name my new boat. I just bought a boat and I need a name. I think I might need you to name it.
Before we kick you out of here, what's the deal with all the tattoos, weirdo?
I know.
I like it.
Can't stop. If you go
Who's the girl on your arm?
if you go into my house, you'll see that I don't have much art on the walls because I carry my art with me.
Who is that
So
on your bicycle?
I'm just obsessed with this is called American traditional art. I feel
Okay.
bad. She's a little ashy right now because I've gotten some sun. So this one's a different artist, but same concept of like American traditional.
Oh, cool.
She's
From
my
what
North
era? What
she's
era
my
is
North
that?
Dakota
What'd you call?
self.
Is that like turn of the
It's like
century,
pinup girl.
1800s?
It's like
Wartime.
It's like,
Probably.
yeah, it's like wartime. Like
Okay.
the mom with the heart with the thing through it.
Okay.
This one's a little bit of a different take on that because this artist wanted to do something a little different. But this is like World War II.
Definitely.
You know what I mean?
Definitely.
They were definitely like South Pacific girls.
Oh,
but
sure.
On
Now
my
I see
skin,
that.
she's very white, and then I just kind of kept going with that as it goes down. There's a few different artists involved here, but
So there is a theme.
I do like to stick with usually the same artist. The theme is whatever the hell I want in that moment.
Perfect. And you have to take advice. I think Amy agrees with me on this. No neck tattoos, no face tattoos.
No neck tattoos.
No neck, no face.
Face will never happen.
No.
This
Okay.
is I'm close.
No, unless you kill
I'm
someone and then
close
you
here.
can't put a
Okay.
teardrop
Oh.
by your eye.
That's
Right.
true
Yeah.
that I can do that. No neck yet. That will never happen.
Okay,
But
good.
well, unless I get the gobbler thing and I
No,
don't.
No,
and
no,
I,
we said no,
no,
Kat.
no,
We
said
said
no. We're
no.
fine.
No,
We're
no.
fine.
Mom and
Not
Dad
doing
said
that.
no.
I'll just pay for plastic surgery. Thanks, Mom and Dad. You guys can pay for it.
Yeah.
Are we done?
No, we won't, young lady.
Yeah, go out and get a job. You can't be sitting on my couch
You're not
for
gonna
the
sit and
rest
watch
of your life.
video games.
Get out of the
Whatever.
house. Get out of
Kat
here.
Perkins, we love you. Thank you
Thanks
so
for
much.
having me, you guys. Let's do it
Any
again.
old time, man.
And you weren't that crabby, Kenny, so I'm a little disappointed.
Tell Bob I said hi.
I
okay?
will, for sure.
Cool. See you, Kat.
Bye.